Once Upon a Deadpool. Now, some of you might be thinking, like, why are you reviewing this movie exactly? I don't know. I just thought it'd be fun to throw in these X-Men videos because I'm reviewing all the Fox superhero movies because all the Fox superhero movies are rumored to all tie into the new Deadpool movie, right? Not just the X-Men stuff, but the Elektra and things like that. Daredevil, like Fantastic Four stuff. So all that stuff's rumored, and I think it's just like fun, right? But it's also just kind of awkward because I'm doing this stuff as a lead up to Deadpool, and there's not really like anything more than two Deadpool movies. So I'm reviewing a shit ton of X-Men movies, like three Fantastic Four movies, and a Daredevil movie and its spinoff. So it just feels like, okay, well, we're talking about all this stuff. There's barely any Deadpool. And honestly, this movie is a different experience. So basically, if you don't know what this movie is, because I feel like there are a lot of people who don't understand what this movie is. Basically, when Deadpool 2 came out, Fox fucked up the release. Um, and this is important for context. Essentially, the first Deadpool made a lot of money in February. They rushed the sequel out, and they wanted to put it out in 2018. Well, they ended up putting it out in the month that Solo came out, the week after Deadpool 2 came out. And they had Avengers Infinity War out. So, I don't know, like, people act like Solo would have, like, bombed really hard or whatever, but honestly did pretty well with those factors, like, with that stuff. I digress about that. So, basically, Deadpool 2 didn't make as much as it would have if, you know, if it had not released in such a crowded season. This is the thing that really annoys me about fucking Hollywood to this day, how we keep releasing all these movies in such crowded seasons and we're not spacing our shit out because there's a lot of dead months throughout the year and we really need to work on this, but hey, they don't fucking do that. But I digress. So this movie didn't necessarily bomb, but didn't do great. So basically Fox was like, okay, what if we put a movie out in December called Once Upon a Deadpool that's a PG-13 re-edit? And I think they also did this, and this has never been substantiated or confirmed, but it seems pretty likely. Even Deadpool makes jokes about it in this movie, which is that they probably did this because Disney was buying Fox, and they wanted to see if they can make a PG-13 Deadpool work because they wanted to show that they could play ball with Disney, and it didn't work. This PG-13 cut came out. I think people were confused about it. Not a lot of people saw it. It was just kind of there. It went in and out of theaters very quick. It has a Blu-ray release, but the Blu-ray release is not easy to find. It's one that you're probably going to have to order, especially online. I mean, I got it for Amazon for like $15, but still, it's not like the easiest to find Blu-ray, and it may become a rare Blu-ray eventually because it's probably going to go out of print. So I'd say if you want that Blu-ray, get it. But yeah, it's kind of a weird movie because of that. And I think it's also just weird because if you watch Deadpool 1 and 2, you'll see that, like, how do you re-edit this movie to not be rated R? I don't, and even watching it, I really, it's not a bad cut, because it's surprisingly how well a lot of the film works without being rated R. But it does feel like it's missing a lot of its substance. Like, you're watching it and you're just like, there's that car scene where he's running up to the taxi and he's just talking normally. I'm like, yeah, where's the fuck? Like, why is he not saying fuck? Like, it feels like so much of the Deadpool isms are not here, and some of the sequences feel so trimmed down and kind of like just not the same without that stuff. It's so weird because, you know, a normal movie that functions the way Deadpool does with like the profanity, sex, and violence, a lot of times that can feel like unnecessary. I'm not usually one to say that because it's usually like the way I try to think about films that are rated R, and people who try to argue, well, I don't like that stuff. I'm like, yeah, but like the artist probably sat down, wrote, was writing a script, and he's like, this is what my character would say, you know, and that's why it's rated R, and that's why it's this, you know. So I try not to think like that, but you could see that in this cut of the movie, like Deadpool's such a like character that this is who he is, and who he is the movie. So if he's not acting and saying those things, it just feels wrong. I think that I've actually seen a YouTuber who I forget his name made a video talking about why Deadpool doesn't need to be rated R because the comic books were not originally rated R. He appeared in other comic book storylines or whatever. I'm like, yeah, but that's not who Deadpool is now. So we should make this shit rated R, and I'm glad they're doing that with Deadpool 3. Though I really haven't seen that many Red Band trailers, so it feels like it's fucking insulting a little bit. Like you're not actually selling the fucking movie as a rated R movie, but it is what it is. I really enjoyed watching this cut as like a one-time viewing experience. I think if you've never seen it, it is kind of funny, especially the Fred Savage bit where he kidnaps Fred Savage and locks him in a room just to read him the plot of Deadpool 2. The jokes right there are funny, and even then, like the bleeping out the f bombs and them arguing about Nickelback. That's the closest that you get to this entire cut feeling like Deadpool. The rest of it, no. I really don't like Once Upon a Deadpool overall. I think it is a novelty, one-time experience, just to see what this kind of version of a movie would look like. Can this character work in this format? And he just does not. He fucking sucks in this format. And let's not ever try this again.